I start? Hello, my name is Seung-jae. I'm from the Kim University in Daegu. Yes, my article is The Quality of Korean Society, focusing on comparison of OECD countries. There is the contents, the first introduction to conclusion and recommendation. Introduction. Social quality functions as a basic foundation for the development of the welfare state or social development. The level of social quality is an important factor affecting the quality of life or life satisfaction of social members. Especially, social quality played an important role in determining the necessity of constructing a social protection system to overcome the social exclusion that has been proposed in European countries since 2000 as priority of the social policy agenda. The study about the measuring tool of social quality that is necessary for the whole society to make a happy society has been carried out in Europe since 2000. However, the objective measurement tool has not been developed. In particular, research on social quality in Korea has not been actively conducted yet. The most representative research on the quality of Korean society is a research conducted by Lee and Chang. They proved that rapid economic growth in Korea did not involve a high quality of society. This implies the international and national consensus on the concept of social quality. Research on the spatially quality components of society through this and research on measurement tool to measure it are still ongoing and necessary. The most representative study of social quality measurement was done back at colleagues who presented social indicator for social quality. Subsequently, Bender and Masen Walker suggested the social quality measurement tool are more advanced than those back and colleagues. But there are still controversies over the social quality components or dimensions. This study is an exploratory study to explain the quality level of Korean society. The study of social quality has been mainly carried out by European scholars, mainly focused on European countries, and study on the social quality have been made in the small scale in Taiwan and Japan. Especially in order to achieve the aim of study of the quality measurement Korean society, this study compares the OECD indicators to measure and understand the social quality as a compound concept composed of social wage and social labor and social reproduction, structure, and social capital. What is the social quality? Social quality was back at demonstrated that the social quality is the degree of which citizens can participate in the social economic life in a community that is conditioned to promote their prosperity and potential. The social quality is basically tied together with the prosperity and the happiness of individual on one side of quality of society as a whole, such as the structure and conditional context in which the individual affect the individuals as a social being on the other. Therefore, it can be said that the quality of society is the concept that the analysis unit is expanded to the level of society from the individual level. As a result of study of Beck, Herman, and Masen and Walker, who studies components of social quality, social quality is divided three dimensions: conditional factor, and normative factor, and constitutional factor. Conditional Conditional factor is socio-economic security and social inclusion and social integration and social empowerment. And the normative factor includes social justice and solidarity, equal value, and human dignity. And constitutional factor divided the personal security and social response and personal ability. In particular, the components presented by them have many measurement factors and indicators that are not developed for use in Korean society. Also, the above component and the sub-indicators measuring social quality are applicable European countries with social and cultural commonality, but they are not applicable to Korean society as an Asian country. I divided the social quality just 4 dimensions of social wage and social reproduction structure and social labor and social capital. That is the definition of the social wage. The benefits provided by the states in order to maintain the basic right of the people by the states and the income from social welfare goods and services provided to the city in terms of value of money. The other is demonstration as the social reproduction structure is provided the social benefits that protect the family from the social dangers to ensure an healthy family to maintain the preserve the society. And social labor is a work that is realized autonomously to strengthen the capacity of the individual on the basis of community consciousness and solidarity, and labor that is not paid as a wage in the labor market. Social capital is the level of trust of the people to other people or organizations, and the comparative relationships, network, and value and attitude that governs the interaction between individuals and groups. The quality of the Korean society framework of analysis. In this study, the social quality concept, components, and measurement tools were developed and applied. The social quality construct based on the research Begedor and Herman and Marcel and Walker. The quality of Korean society is measured through the contents analysis by collecting social indicators that can be measured by element in social wage and social labor and social reproduction structure and social capital. That data from the OECD data. The second, measuring areas and measurement of social quality. In order to grasp the degree of quality of Korean society, this study attempted to analyze the collected indicators by establishing measurement areas suitable for 4 factors included, and like that, social wage and social labor and social reproduction and social capital. The department of the social wage, income security benefits for poverty and unemployment, and pension and health service benefits, and minimum income for guarantee and other social services. And social labor divided volunteering donation, labor union participation, and civic movement participation. And social reproduction structure is state provision and responsibility of public child care service, level of education, and caring for people with disability and the elderly. And social capital divided trust in friends, colleagues, neighborhood, and government, social safety such as safety at night, and the relationship with neighbors and friends, participation in social groups, organizations, and private organizations, and participation in voting members. That is the result. Social benefits per household by GDP. As of 2014, the social benefits per household by GDP, including cash and in-kind service, were about 5.1%, lower than OECD average of 12.1%. In 35 OECD countries, just in Korea is 32 of the 35 OECD countries. And family benefits from public expenditure to GDP. As of 2013, the GDP-related family benefits, including cash and service, was about 1.1%, lower than the OECD average of 2.1%. In the 35 OECD countries, just in Korea, 32. And public expenditure on disease and disabilities, etc., to GDP. For the unemployment benefits of GDP, as of 2000, the government spent about 0.3% and is 3 times lower than OECD average of 0.9% in 33 OECD countries. And public expenditure on disease and disability, etc., to GDP. As of 2013, the government spent about 0.6% on public expenditure, disease and disabilities in GDP, which is 3 times lower than average 2.1% spent in OECD countries. And public expenditure on health service to GDP. As of 2014, public spending on health service accounted for about 4% of GDP, lower spending by about 2% compared on average of 5.9% of OECD 35 countries. Next, public spending on the labor market relative to GDP. As of the end of 2015, the government spent about 0.7% of the GDP on the labor market, accounting for the half of the OECD average of 1.4% of the 33 OECD countries. In conclusion, Korean society shows that that social quality as a whole is low due to the low level of social wage as a determinant of the quality level of society, as shown by various data that determine social wages. And next, social labors. That volunteering, the OECD data on the volunteering showed the 11.8% of Korean participants in volunteering more than once a month. Making up 21 of the 28 countries that collected data from OECD countries, which is a relatively low resource participation rate. And labor union participation rate, according to the international comparison of labor union membership rate, Korea's labor union membership rate among OECD members countries is very low. Korea Union organization rate is less than half of the OECD average of 27.8%, and among 29 members countries, which is lower than the Nordic countries, which are more than 60%. And when comparing the data of the World Value Survey, international comparison, 61.7% of the respondents in Germany did not have any experience at all. 45.6% in the USA, 63.4% in Sweden, and 52.5% in New Zealand and Australia, accounting for the 41.7%. The average number of people who never participated was 23.8%. And good willingness for society, a comparison of the data, the World Value Survey 2016 shows the 6.1% of people in Germany do not feel that it is important to do something for society. 6.4% in the US, 6% in Singapore, and 12.5% in New Zealand, and 6.4% and the Netherlands 8.9%. And donation effort and giving index is Korea ranked 52 out of the 139 countries. On 34 point out of 121 out of OECD countries. Social labor can be performed only when basic quality of life is secured. If the public highly aware of social labor and the participation in the social labor is high, the social quality will be improved as much as the police effort is needed to achieve. Next is the social reproduction structure, the welfare generosity ratio. The OECD average is a 0.91, ranked 31 out of the 34 countries as of 2017, making it necessary to increase social spending on the elderly population and unemployment respectively, comparing with the ratio of Spain 0.68 and Italy is 0.86, Israel 1.06 and New Zealand 0.97. Having the similar economic size, the welfare generosity ratio of Korea is lower than those of countries. And next, workers' right. It can be seen the average working hours of Korean workers is also very high, which means that workers are suffering from long hours of work. Such long working hours are the main factor that negatively affect the quality of the whole society as well as the family life for social reproduction. And next, the education. According to the result of the World Value Survey, Korean in Korea is 96.4%, which is relatively high. 99.9% in Germany and 98.4% in Sweden and 100% in Spain and 100% in the Netherlands. And next is the child care. According to the Ministry of the Health and Welfare's data on the child care in 2016, the expenditure on child care and education for children aged 0 to 5 years old slightly decreasing every year. But it is estimated that the expenditure is about 188,201 per month as of 2015. The respondent who answered that the cost was a burden for the household accounted for about 15.1% of the total, and it was found that the expenditure of child care still operated as an economic burden and household. And next is the care. The proportion of the public spending on the child care among family members is very low in Korea, indicating that public spending on child care should increase. Public spending on family benefits, including child care to GDP, is very low compared to OECD countries. Among the 35 OECD countries, the proportion of public spending that countries spend on the family benefits relative GDP was 1.1%, ranked 32nd. The average expenditure on family benefits in OECD countries is 2.1% of GDP, which is spending more about half of Korea's public spending. Overall, the reproduction structure of Korean society has shown that the basic framework for social reproduction, including the reproduction of family, is relatively weaker than the OECD countries. And social factor that divides society rate per 100,000 population. Society rate per 100,000 population in 2014 was 29, more than twice the average of OECD countries, the highest in OECD. The corruption perception index is in Korea. Corruption perception index released by the Transparency International is ranked 52 out of the 176 countries surveyed in 2016. The corruption index should be above 70 points, indicating the society is generously transparent, and that 50-point scale where Korea is located is nearly out of corruption. Among the 35 OECD countries, it ranked 29th, indicating that the perception of corruption by Korea is very high. And the degree of the trust in the government. The result of the World Value Survey on Korea shows that the Korean people have low confidence in the government. In other words, 49.5% of the respondents answered that they trust the government, while 50.3% said they do not trust the government. Compared to the other countries, the percentage of respondents who said do not trust the government was 38.6% in Sweden, 20.2% in Singapore, and 61% in Mexico, and 65.3% in the United States. The confidence of the Korean people in the government was low compared to European countries. And degrees of confidence in the resident and neighbors. The Korean people have low confidence in their neighbors. In other words, 72.2% of the respondents answered that they trust the other person, and 27.6% of respondents did not. In comparison with other countries, the proportion of respondents who did not trust their neighbors was 17% in Sweden and 22% in Singapore. The U.S. countries composed immigrants had 26.5%. This result showed that the level of trust in the neighbors of the Korean people is relatively low. And the degree of feeling safety working alone at night. According to the result of the World Value Survey, 55.5% of Koreans thought that it was safe for them to walk alone at night, and 44.4% of the respondents thought that walk alone at night is unsafe, compared with 32.3% in Sweden and 27.2% in Singapore. The Korean respondents who think that the night is not safe are relatively high. And voting participation, according to the result of the World Value Survey, questionnaires asking whether or not to vote. 83.9% of respondents answered that they are generally voting among Korean, and respondents who have never participated in the voting are 14.8% respectively. In comparison with other countries, 91.7% of respondents said that they are voting in general, and 89.9% in the Netherlands, 88.6% in Singapore. And quality of support network. The respondent rate of 3 to 39 age groups is 78%, which is lower than that of OECD average of 90% and 93% of those under 30 age groups, which is lower than the OECD average of 95%, indicating that quality of social network is overall lower than the comparative states in OECD. In sum, the level of social capital of Korean people are very weak. In order to improve social quality, trust between the members of the society, and confidence in the government is important. However, Korea has found that the trust, which is the main component in social capital, is very low. As a result of a relative comparison, the index of the corruption perception is very high, and social safety is also very low. And conclusion and recommendation. The quality of Korean society has proved to the relatively inferior when comparing with the economic size. In terms of economic size represented by GNI and GDP, Korea's GNI per capita ranked at the 22nd, and GDP per capita ranked 23 among the 35 OECD countries. The economic size of Korea is similar to Spain and New Zealand and Israel and Italy among the OECD countries in 2017. Comprehensive analysis of data showed that it is necessary to improve the level of social wage and social reproduction in order to improve the quality of Korean society, and for the governmental effort to improve social labor, social capital, especially the proportion of social expenditure should be increased for improving the quality of Korean society up to the level of nations with a similar economic size. And the point is the Korean government needs to expand its fiscal expenditure as social sector to realize policy effort to improve social quality. In sum, in order to improve social quality, Korean government should have expanded fiscal spending to improving social quality. Thank you for attention.